Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another discussion video. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, but I think it's literally a week before the Marvels comes out. I wanted to discuss this tumultuous stuff that's going on in the MCU. Now, I want to state here, as I mentioned before, I'm still inside the MCU bandwagon. After 10 years, I'm still fully invested. It's kind of like my soap opera at this point. I kind of want to still know what's going on for the majority of the part, at least 98% of the stuff, because they just dropped the trailer of the Disney Plus show Echo, which stars this character who in comics in the past year or so has been getting a lot of more shine because of the TV show, and the actress done a fine job, but it's like now she's in the comics, it's like the wielder of the Phoenix Force. At least I still think so. No, I don't know if she's still wielder of the Phoenix Force, because they did like a change of the guard of the Avengers in the past handful of months. So she's not on the team anymore, but I'm not sure if she still wields the Phoenix Force currently right now. But anyway, they're trying to prop her up, for a good stint of time, given the fact that she's supposed to have some kind of like TV show, and the comics trying to make sure they get a little bit of the same stuff going on. So when people are watching the movies or the TV shows and they're reading the comic books, they all can be like all one-to-one with each other, which is kind of dumb. They did that with Kamala Khan recently. Oh, they announced her to be kind of like a mutant here in the TV show, so they retroactively made her a semi-inhuman, semi-mutant now, and it's dumb in my opinion. Don't let me get started on that. I already made like a big video, at least a couple of big videos about that, which you can check out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkative Carl. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and share your opinions about that. But right now, Marvel is kind of like going through a little bit of an upheaval here. I'm pretty sure I made a video discussing that, because not many people care for Phase 4. I don't hate Phase 4. I think Phase 4 isn't as good as because I think people expect what's going on with Phase 4 to be like akin to, on the same level as Infinity War and Endgame, which is, I don't think, is a good idea for you to have that mindset. Just go in and expect, a certain level of quality, but not the same quality. But I think that's more so on Bob Iger's fault, where he's trying to make, at that time, trying to make TV shows like the movies, and they're two sets of different type of fields. Falcon and Winter Soldier seems like a movie that was chopped up to be like an episodic show, which I can see that point. I didn't hate and the stuff in Phase 4. You look back on Phase 4, there's actually, if you look back, there's decent stuff that we all remember from each one of those things. Especially Loki, the TV show. I think that's why Loki season 1 was probably like the best one in a lot of people's opinion. Hawkeye is very good too, but Loki season 1 was like, top tier in terms of TV shows, and that's why it got a season 2 as opposed to any of the other ones. Episode 5 of season 2 just dropped. The final season will pop up next Thursday. So after it drops, it'll be a late one, but I'll do a spoiler review of season 2 next Thursday night. I get my overall thoughts. But I actually dig the season, but I'm not gonna get in too much into spoilers until then. Anyway, so like people are saying like, oh man, like getting into phase 5, man, it's not looking so good because Quantumania didn't do so well. Then you got a whole situation with Jonathan Majors with the whole trial thing, and hopefully, because the way I see it, I don't think he did anything wrong, and he's fighting tooth and nail back. And I like to think most people don't think he actually is like this huge wife beater. I think it's a whole nother whole nother Johnny Depp situation in my opinion. So hopefully he'll get vindicated. Don't know a lot, but as far as the information that's been given, it seems like he might have a chance. Anyway, so it's like, oh, what's this relationship going to be like with MCU moving forward? Do they have to pivot from, because he was set to be the next Thanos, whereas like Kang the Conqueror, it's like at this point, it's like I don't, because people say they could pivot to somebody like Doctor Doom, but it's like, is Doctor Doom like a because they set up this multiverse saga here, and Doctor Doom isn't like he's barely like a universe level threat. At most, he may be like a world-ending threat, but it's not so big where, because he gets defeated by 4 members of one team. So it's like, unless he acquires powers from like the Silver Surfer or something like that, I doubt he can rise to. I mean, sure, he fought the Avengers before, sure, but you get in something like Secret Wars where you get all these different types of heroes from all these different multiverses. That's like, is it something that is Doctor Doom level? Well, then again, it is Secret Wars. Secret Wars in the comics has Doctor Doom involved, and ultimately he is the final boss, but he wasn't the final boss until he made himself a final boss, or he acquired the powers of the Beyonder. But at first, it was like a battle world situation where, you get, a bunch of heroes dealing with like a bunch of villains, him being among them, until he was like the final one left. So it's like, and that's just on happenstance where you got a bunch of heroes having to deal with Doctor Doom. That's not something that, oh, Doctor Doom's coming. It's not like Thanos where it's like, oh, Thanos is coming. Kang is obviously on that level where you got these different variants of him coming across different timelines and different multiverses, each one more lethal than the last. And sure, Quantumania wasn't necessarily a good film, but I argue Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors was like the best parts of that film. And like Jonathan Majors is an incredible actor, and his role as He Remains and Victor Timely recently in Loki season 2, and this different version of Kang, he plays it very differently each time, and each one is very good for different reasons. And now it's like, oh, do we have to pivot? And I'm thinking to myself, you don't want to make the same mistake as you did with James Gunn, because you like shot yourself in the foot by turning your back on him because of some shoddy allegations, or allegations that had happened so long ago doesn't mean much. Now, of course, James Gunn's situation was a little bit different because it was like a poor joke that was made like decades ago, while Jonathan Majors was like a situation where he got into an argument with his girl and his ex-girlfriend, and she tried to take his phone, he tried to take it back, and abuse kind of situation, and it's a bunch of hollow accusations from her. It's a whole thing. I'm pretty sure if you're tracking that, you'll see what's going on. But like I said, I still feel like he'll be vindicated, and I don't think it'll be a good idea for MCU or Kevin Feige just to completely turn their backs on him, unless, because it's not like he has like a whole history of like getting into relationships and just like feeling the need to just beat on women. It's like, it's not like a, very rare you come across men that monstrous. And of course he's just like a big black dude, and of course his ex-girlfriend was like a skinny white chick, so it's kind of like, oh my god, kind of attitude. So that's got a situation with that. Then you got the whole situation with the Marvels, where it's like, because Bob Iger making, putting the TV shows on the same level as the movies, like, oh, you have to see these TV shows in order to make sense of what's going on with the movies, trying to force people to, actively watch stuff on Disney Plus, or getting Disney Plus to watch certain TV shows in order to feel like they need to keep up with what's going on with the movies. And you don't necessarily have to, because personally, I'm not going to watch Echo, honestly. Despite Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox's Kingpin and Daredevil being involved, you're going to get a TV show involving them. I don't feel the need to watch Echo. And that's my biggest issue with Disney as a whole. Not with just Marvel, but Star Wars. Because they try to do that with the lady who was who made those remarks about trans people in after Mandalorian season 2. This warrior, former rebel army member, I forgot her doggone name, but after people love that character and been making some kind of announcements about making like a movie or a TV show about her, and it was around that time I figured like, okay, not just because a side character turns out to be like a great character in their own right that elevates the main character, you don't necessarily need for them to have just like, I don't want just backdoor pilots into characters that happen to be fun and turn them into other series just to boost revenues. Like, it's like not everybody needs their own show, basically. It's just because Luke talked with this one bartender in one episode and everybody cried about how fun that character is, and then it's like, oh, everybody seems to like this character, let's make a TV show about this person now. It's like, and they did it. How many people like you hear clamoring about that girl in the She-Hulk show that was on the stand that best friend was Wong, and she called them Wongers. It's this drunk frat girl type of chick, and it's like, oh, everybody's like, oh my god, we need a TV show about her. Like, no, we don't. And that's the problem, is you trying to flood. That's what people talking about, like, oh, superhero fatigue and stuff like that, because you keep boosting characters that should just be relegated to side characters because that's where they fit. Okay, you don't need more shows about characters that don't need their own show. They're supporting cast, and that's where they need to be relegated to for the most part, at least for a while, maybe. This all depends. Because like, we don't need like a whole show about Mary Jane. She's a supporting character to Spider-Man, and not the fact, it doesn't mean that every once in a while she might have their own comic book, but it's not like she needs a whole long running series, mini series at most. Because she had a long staying power for many years to probably warrant a mini series. Mary Jane have earned that right. Somebody like that, chick that's friends with Wong hasn't earned that right. She has a 5-minute stay of fame, and that is it. But it's just that, that's where the whole people complain about superhero fatigue. It's like, like you drown. Bob Iger, for the most part, was drowning us with so much stuff that people would complain, like, hey, you need to slow down. It's too much. And I agree, it was too much. And now they kind of, fixing that issue by minimizing stuff in the future. And that's where the whole Blade situation is going to be coming into play, where it's like, it's going through a bunch of rewrites. Because, like, what is it going on? Blade's production has been plagued with multiple setbacks, including changes in the writers, directors, causing delays and uncertainties. Initial rewrites of the script sidelined the character of Blade, focusing instead on other characters. Despite writer Michael Green taking over, the future of Blade remains uncertain, especially with its limited budget of $100 million. And this is just a movie about half vampire fighting vampires. Not much budget need to be involved. Hell, the first Blade film with Wesley Snipes didn't need all that big of a budget. Sure, some of the CGI is kind of shoddy, but you know, you can easily fix that, you know, because you got the budget to do so. You don't need to have that same crappy CGI, but you don't need a crazy big budget. So now they gotta like fix certain things. But back to the Marvels, you know, I watched Miss Marvel's TV show. It was okay. It was cool. I love Avon Milani. I keep, you know, I feel like I'm butchering her name. Yeah, Amon Villani. Yeah, I got that right. Uh, uh, she was great, honestly. Total like nerd in her own right. But of course, some people didn't bother to, some people probably didn't care for Miss Marvel, but it felt like it's not necessarily a need to watch that. But it felt like, you know, because of maybe Bob Iger, you kind of pushed to make it feel like you have to watch it in order to make sense of what's going to happen as MCU as a whole, or at the very least, well, it should have been just minimized to what's going to happen with the Marvels, and have it tied into that solely, not as the MCU as maybe as a whole. But it was like a wrong marketing ploy, honestly. And just like with Secret Invasion and Thor: Love and Thunder is probably the only two. Well, there's moments in Thor and Love and Thunder I actually did like. But Secret Invasion, I can wholeheartedly say, in my spoiler review of that, I can wholeheartedly say, like, that one is terrible. It was horrendous, honestly. Because it's supposed to be like a spy espionage thing being led by Sam Jackson. You should not be able to mess that up. And the fact that after, you know, even Falcon and Winter Soldier is better than this. And the fact that you have a movie like Civil War and Captain America Winter Soldier proves that you can make spy espionage type of films. So you have the blueprints on making a good spy thriller here, and you hugely dropped the ball, especially with Don Cheadle. It's like, sure, you can say like, oh, he was taken and replaced by a Skrull, but when did that happen? Was it after Civil War or was it after Endgame? Because clearly when Skrulls gets knocked out or gravely injured, they revert back to their natural state, because they had to keep in, you know, have to conscientiously keep their form to keep the disguise up. I talked with my friend just yesterday about this situation, and clearly in Civil War, when Brody got knocked out after getting shot down, he was passed out and didn't revert to any Skrull state. So it make more sense for him to be replaced after Endgame. But that didn't make any sense. And then also with Fury having obviously Skrulls in his back pocket to keep him always one step ahead of everybody, because he has plants everywhere, essentially. So why didn't any of these, you know, Skrull friends of his didn't inform him, especially Talos, didn't inform him about Hydra secretly amongst them, amongst S.H.I.E.L.D., so you can, you know, get ahead of this and stop this before it blows up in the first place? It literally does not make any sense. There's so much stuff he could have prevented ahead of time. Yeah, but people are, you know, expecting the Marvels to do poorly in the box office. I hope it doesn't. Like, cause I'm going to do a review of the first Captain Marvel movie. Uh, uh, as well as doing a comic book review of Kamala Khan's origin this month. Might not be in time before the Marvel shows up, but I want to at least review the first Captain Marvel movie before I get to reviewing the Marvels, which I won't do until Saturday. I'll watch it. I'll go to see the theater next Thursday, but I won't review it until next Saturday. But I did not hate, unlike most people, I didn't hate Brie Larson nor the first Captain Marvel movie. I thought it was pretty solid. And the only thing is, it was not too long after the first, Wonder Woman movie came out that Marvel needed a female head, of the company. It's like their own Wonder Woman, and it's the rare occasion where DC beat Marvel to the punch with something. And Captain Marvel isn't like a bad idea of being like the female headliner of the franchise, but it's just like, people's complaints about Brie Larson, which I think she's actually a really good actress, and I don't think she's like a terrible person as a whole. Maybe to some people she might seem a little pompous in a way here and there, maybe at most. I don't feel that way. I think she's very cool. And I think she was like a great choice as Captain Marvel. And the same with Monica Rambeau and her introduction in the WandaVision, it wasn't a bad choice. And of course, like I said, Iman Vellani, great choice. The casting in MCU has always been stellar. There's never been an issue with that. But I think the problem is now they kind of correcting it is after the whole writer strike and the VFX artists and their striking. A lot of people have been striking, not even just in Hollywood, but just, the motor companies and stuff like that, and certain grocery store chains and Amazon and things like that. It's just writers, striking all through the summer, getting into the fall. But it's just now they're gonna have to. I love the actor from Miss Marvel. Yeah, Miss Marvel is actually, all the actors playing these variants of, because, Carol Danvers, took on the name Photon before, and way back in like the 80s, getting into the 90s for a stint before Monica Rambeau kind of took over that thing. But none of, I love each of these actors. But it's just now they had to they course correcting because they kind of especially the VFX artists, they kind of pushed them too far and on a limited time crunch, very little money for the overtime to try to do these shoddy CGIs because they're spread too thin. And I think we took notice around She-Hulk time getting into Wakanda Forever, where we all took notice of, and then they made this kind of blasé half-ass joke about it at the end of She-Hulk, about the whole situation. So you acknowledge the fact that you have your artist spread thin, and you making a joke about it, but you're not doing anything about it. So now they, of course, they're course correcting, and now okay, we're gonna limit amount of time, 3 things per year. And some people point out okay, maybe you need a whole year-long break just to, take the time to do what you need to do. And I even keep pointing out to people, after Endgame, they did take a year off, mind you. They did take a year off after Endgame. I don't think many people, remember that. So, they have that. I mean, of course, it's mainly by happenstance, but mainly it's because of the whole COVID situation. But it just didn't help when they just getting back into the swing of things when COVID was really getting in the way of stuff. So they have to work around that kind of thing. So I don't really blame Marvel or Kevin Feige for that kind of situation. It was out of their hands. Uh, but yeah, maybe they need like a year to like get their ducks in a row, and of course minimize the amount of stuff they need to put out. Maybe 2 movies and 1 TV show in a year, so that way people can sit with it, absorb it, kind of thing, and give us time to wait for the next thing. And I think they need to do that with Star Wars as well, because yeah, they probably have been doing too much. Now, there's a very few stuff that I actually did not care for, Secret Invasion being one of them. But I'm not even gonna waste my time with Echo personally, because I don't think like I'm don't have any interest in the character as a whole to, have that kind of fervor. Like I gotta see Echo, and it's like, Echo. You try to do a thing like you did with like Guardians of the Galaxy, but Echo has been in, been around in Marvel, but I think her origin was like late 80s, early 90s, maybe. I don't know. It's not like the same with Guardians of the Galaxy where they had some kind of, longer stint in history. But check this out, like Marvel's Echo. When like Echo was created. She was first introduced in Daredevil Volume 2, number 9, on May 1999. So yeah, late 90s, just at the last end of the 90s, getting into the year 2000. So she's been around for like at least a few decades at this point. But she hasn't really got that big of a hype until I'd say she didn't really shine until getting into the whole comic book Secret Invasion thing once in the story, where it found out that Skrulls are infiltrating people after they think Elektra died, but it turns out she was a Skrull. So it was around that time, or it's getting towards that time, when Echo really had her a little bit of a moment, but then she kind of fell off. And then it wasn't until in recent couple of years where she gotten a little bit more shine in the comics, because this TV show is about to come out. But honestly, and then you can tell but by the fact that the TV shows have been like 1 episode per week, but they dropped the entire series all in one go for this particular show, which shows, in my personal opinion and a lot of people's opinion, lack of faith in the product, which I think you probably shouldn't have done in the first place. No shade on the actress, she did a fine job in Hawkeye, but like with the I think it's Gina Carano who played that former rebel soldier in Mandalorian. It's just like, yeah, she was a fun side character. Just because people like the character and clamor like more of the character doesn't necessarily mean you need to cater to that and come up with retroactively, okay, people have been saying like, oh, this chick that's best friend of Wong, you better make a TV show about her because that's what people seem to like. No, you don't need to do that because they have like a moment, okay? And Echo happens to be one of them. Only difference is she actually can, be a part of like an Avenger type of crew, but she doesn't necessarily warrant a solo stuff TV show, in my opinion. But then like Daredevil Born Again, that is like that's going through a couple of rewrites, I believe, in very recently. Now I have more faith in Born Again in terms of its show, because we all love Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. And of course, Echo's being propped up and people are probably going to watch it more so because, not because of Echo, because Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be in it. So it's like, you're sidelining your main character because you don't believe in the main character holding up her own show by having two high profile characters that's more well known to lift it up, and that's just like, that's not a good look. Okay, it shows you have no faith in your product. And the same thing as they did that with Boba Fett, because it's having a slow thing until you brought in Mando Din Djarin involved. Now it's like Mandalorian 2.0, and now it's like it's about him now, and it's like, wow, that's not a good look. And you're essentially having, I love Daredevil, but Daredevil's gonna hijack, I bet you Daredevil's gonna hijack Echo. And it's like, you shouldn't have made the show in the first place. But I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't believe like MCU is really on fire as people will say. They definitely need to make some course corrections, but it's salvageable. Because it's not like, you know, oh, MCU is going down in flames. No, I still believe in Kevin Feige. Because, mind you, you have aside from me, a few outliers like Thor 2, you have a good long 10-year track record of quality stuff here. Okay, some people don't care for Avengers 2. I actually like Age of Ultron, but it's like he has like a good 10-year track record of quality stuff. Now, what will cause people to need to feel like they need to really lose their faith in this type of franchise if he needs to have a whole 10-year span of crap in order to feel like, oh, this is crap. Thanks for the follow, Joe. Kevin Feige needs to make a 10-year long level of real crap, like Secret Invasion level of crap, in the next 10 years, in order to make people really lose faith, and have them, because people talking about like, oh, which obviously people know they doubt it, but like, oh, they need to bring back, you know, the old guard like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. in order to get things back in motion. No, relegated them to like, you know, one's died, one's retired. Leave them alone, okay? You still got good stuff here. Moon Knight was very great. Hawkeye, very great. More surprising to more people, because I feel like the Marvel's going to be like Hawkeye, in my opinion, where people think it's going to be like crap, but it turns out to be a great thing, okay? And they need to stop trying to feel like, oh, it's the MCU, everything needs to be an Infinity War level of quality. No, they do not, okay? The quality is going to be the quality, okay? Do you like it, or did it suck? That's the only thing. Or at the very least, was it mid? And it's okay, some things can be mid. Not everything can be one branch or the other, okay? I think Ms. Marvel could be qualified as mid. It's very good, okay? It isn't like the greatest TV show ever, but it definitely wasn't terrible, aside from a couple of things that seemed kind of like either pandery or kind of just thrown in for no reason. But I think, like, you know, it's Falcon and Winter Soldier, mid, you know, fairly average. Something like Secret Invasion, that was definitely terrible. But Loki season 1, highest quality, great. Yeah, I don't think it's like a horrible what's going on with MCU right now. They just need to, what they're doing right now is course correct. They're like, okay, we need to hold back, you know. But I definitely agree with people saying they need to take a year to actually get their ducks in a row, but then come back, because they pushing Blade now, because that's supposed to be like the next big movie, but they kind of push it back to trying to, you know, fix certain things. But I don't think we need, personally, I don't think we need an Echo show. But if you guys, because I didn't watch What If. I kept, you know, I watched other people's reviews and highlights of the show, so I know what went on, so it won't be totally lost. So that's what I'm going to probably do with Echo. Some people are going to still watch Echo, because it's okay to pick and choose what you want to watch. If it's not for you, it's like, if Echo is not for you, or Miss Marvel is not for you, or Secret Invasion wasn't for you, like, you don't need to. You can just go offhand and like watch other people who are excited for or have to review it, have them watch them and see what their thoughts on it, so you can at least get an understanding of what went on in like a truncated format, so that way the bigger stuff like Kang Dynasty or Secret Avenger come out, because I think this is kind of like a big puzzle piece, because you know, people are complaining about this stuff right now. It's like, it doesn't make any sense right now. How does this fit? Like, you know, it doesn't make any sense with, you know, Riri Williams, what's going on with Wakanda Forever. And it's like, once the Avengers film comes into play, all the stuff we've been going on and watching will all start, you know, just like in like Avengers Endgame, all the stuff like, you know, activate instant kill. If you watch Homecoming, you know what that is. And I feel like that's how, if you watch Ms. Marvel, I'm pretty sure what went on with her show, you know, certain little Easter eggs that, you know, will become Easter eggs that happen in that will rear its head in something like Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars, where it's like, oh my God, if you know, you have that little revelation moment when you see something that you saw in like Loki make an appearance in Kang Dynasty, you will like lose your freaking mind. Like, oh my God, if you've been following along, that would make a whole lot of sense to you, and you get that kind of rah-rah moment. You know, that'll blow your mind. So just give it time, okay? Yeah, it's like, sure, it's like some people say like, I shouldn't have to wait until the Avengers film, the next Avengers film, to have this other stuff make all sense to me. It should already, I get it, but it's like, you guys gotta like, you know, don't lose faith so quickly over because like a few things did not pan out for you. Okay, now you have your own opinions, of course, and like you don't have to like everything. It's okay to not to like everything. I didn't like everything, but you can offer your criticism. It's fair criticism, not just overall hate. Because like, oh, I'm not gonna watch the Marvels because it's just gonna be woke women. And it's like, cool your jets. That's not a good criticism. But give it time. I'm pretty sure the Marvels, I cannot wait. I hope it actually is very good so people can eat their words, because they keep putting it down, because like just like with Hawkeye, you put it down because you didn't care for Hawkeye like that, but it turns out to be one of the, you know, arguably a great TV show. And I hope the same way for the Marvels, whereas the people can eat their words and see like, oh wow, it actually did not suck. So this is my little brief little 2 cents on what's going on in the state of Marvel. Sure, there's some things they need to course correct, but I don't think you should throw the baby out with the bathwater because of a few outliers. But let me know what your thoughts are. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the overall state of the MCU. Are you off the train, or are you still on the train? What do you think they need to do? Or are they on the right track now? Are you going to watch Echo, or are you going to actually spend time to go see the Marvels? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But I'll see you guys later on tonight as I go play more of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And yeah, and you can follow me here on Twitch, my Twitter handle, Patreon, YouTube. All of my links are in the description here on the sidebar or below, wherever, however you're watching the video. Or you can just, if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description below. And I'll see you guys later tonight. Take care.